Hi, my East. So it is our second video, and we are going to speak about the present, how you see the actual situation of the world, and how you are one important activist in this context.
Yes.
So something I appreciate a lot in your activity, actually, right now is the way you bridge the United Nations, because you have one foot in United Nations, you are going to explain, but also the eco-village, and then place where there are very poor people who are actually desperate because they are being disturbed by the climate change. So how you move in all those different kind of field of reality and all those different culture, because to be an activist in 40 countries is not easy. So how you adapt yourself, and what are your major, let's say, sponsor, or actually part of your global activist, let's say, system between the United Nations, the Global Eco-Village Network, between Gaia, which is an interesting organization connected with the Global Eco-Village Network, and your action, actually, on special context where very poor people, not educated people, are returning to hope with your action.
More than an activist that I refer in the past,
yes.
I think I became a reflexive practitioner.
Yes.
Somebody who thinks and studies and then go and practice. So I'm I'm not an activist anymore. And as a reflexive practitioner, I decided to work in the edges by observing ecosystems, how ecosystems work. Edge normally is the place where two ecosystems meet and there's more diversity, more life, and more potential. So when two ecosystems meet, you have ecotome, which is a Greek term that say ecosystems in tension. And I work with, I coined this term social tone, society's intention. When societies or groupings, they meet in that edge, there is tension, but there is diversity and there's possibility of being innovative. So being an edge worker and working with ecotomes and social tomes at the same time, I see that most of the international conventions, the new frameworks that look at a convergence of our multiple crises and say, okay, these are, it's not one more, it's many. So we're now going to frame this and find different solutions to tackle that. When we look at these frameworks, you can see the international conventions, they sometimes, or most of the times, they are signed on federal level, heads of state. They take about 5 years to trickle down into the systems and into the lap of the local authorities, because they are those in government that rub with civil society. And when these two ecosystems meet, government and civil society, this is an edge. So that's where I decided to work for the last 10 years, in the edge between government and society. Because if you start decoding what we have signed at the level of government into the understanding and the relevance of civil society, you can accelerate that implementation. Government cannot implement by themselves. Civil society sometimes don't have the policy or the resources to get into the activity. So I work on these two levels, but as an edge worker, you don't identify to any of those. So I work with the UN for 22 years now, mainly two UN agencies that are connected to education and training. I'm a fellow of UNITAR, United Nations Institute for Training and Research. I led one of their training centers for Northern Europe for 10 years. and created many trainings for local authorities and civil society leaders into decoding Agenda 21, Agenda Habitat, Platform for Action, and most recently the SDGs Agenda. So
then on this subject, you are very active with a kind of card game. Can you speak about this, because that is very interesting?
Yes, so we have developed then, in my understanding, this latest accord between all member states, the Sustainable Development Goals. It brings a hope that we will start taking the destiny in our hands from a degenerative process where old business model like GDP is created by the speed through which you explore raw materials and then produce and then consume and dump, and that's wealth. And moving from the linear into the circular, so there is this hope that we move from degenerative to regenerative systems through the SDGs. So we then put together
ADG,
Sustainable Development Goals.
Okay.
Yes.
Important.
So we then created a series of flashcards containing over 200 questions that, together with UNESCO, and we are conducting training of multipliers where you can create small groups, conversations that can unleash the creativity and the ingenuity of our generation to get some either policies or activities or mobilizing resources in the implementation of the SDGs. And this series of training of multipliers is taking place now in the 5 regions of the world. We've already been in Latin America, Northern America, and Europe, going to Arabic world and also to Africa. And we're training multipliers into facilitating conversations because I don't think civil society by itself or governments by itself can do it. So we need to have conversations between these different subjects or actors in order to design the future we want into our locality. So the conversations, they are linked, designed to the what we call at the UN, the technical term, has a vertical integration with the big agenda. So it has this big kind of alignment, but at the same time, it has this bringing elegant solutions connected to the biocultural uniqueness of the places where the conversations are taking place.
Thank you very much, May East. So we are going to do a third video about the future. Thank you for this presentation of your present.
Thank you.